Global markets this morning rallied on optimism the economy will recover, but the markets are mixed here as economists debate what kind of recovery it will be. Some predict a V-shaped recovery with a quick snap back up as production increases to replace drawn down inventories. Nouriel Roubini, we've been talking about this morning, warning of a W-shaped recovery or a double dip recession if central banks remove stimulus too quickly. But economist Peter Morici says for most people here in the U.S., the recovery will be an X. Morici is a business professor at the University of Maryland, and he joins us live from our Washington, D.C. bureau. Peter, first of all, why an X? And I'm assuming you're not talking about here GDP movements.
No, I'm not. For ordinary working people, there won't be much of a recovery. I don't anticipate very strong growth coming out of this thing. We're going to have some inventory rebuild simply because, you know, they've run down their inventories. We have to replace some computers. They've gotten old. But there really isn't strong demand in the U.S. economy. There really wasn't before the bubble burst. It was simply that we were borrowing a lot. And so we essentially have to fix the structural problems. We have to fix our trade account, export more and import less so there won't be enough demand, which means the economy will grow 2% a year if we're lucky. And that won't create very many jobs, if any at all. So for ordinary working people, there won't be a recovery.
Let's talk about first how to fix that trade deficit. You say it's mostly oil and Chinese consumer goods. Export more, import less, or the economy flops. How do we go about doing that?
Well, China pegs its currency to the dollar at an artificially low level. If China will not redress that problem, we will have to do it for them. Over and over again, I've come on shows like this for the last 5 years, and anchors have said, well, they're a sovereign country. They can do whatever they want. Well, so can we. If they won't, excuse me. I'm very sorry.
Not a problem.
If they will not revalue their currency, then I suggest we put a tax on dollar-yuan conversions until they do and set that tax equal to the value of their currency intervention, which they use to maintain an undervalued currency. They're really leaving us no choice. We could also encourage them to manage their way out of this situation. But essentially, they're exporting the recession to us by subsidizing their exports, and they haven't changed the value of the yuan in now a year.
All right, let's talk about the problems here at home. And Caroline, we talk a lot about this on the show. There have been some bullish signals or some positive data points in the housing market, but we've also had on analysts like Karen Weaver of Deutsche Bank who say, hey, we're still going to see price declines until the first quarter of 2011. How do you see the housing picture here?
Well, I don't see the housing picture as being nearly as good as the data would have us indicate at first glance. Of the sales that we tracked in June, 90% of them was some kind of distressed sale. A bank foreclosure, a bank taking less than the full value of the mortgage and writing off a loan, a homeowner not going through the bank but facing a pink slip, loss of job, credit card debt they can't pay, behind on payments, that sort of thing. There are only about 10% of the sellers who are under normal, non-distressed circumstances. So in those situations, you're going to have a lot of housing transactions. You're going to have a lot of houses sell. In the new home market, which is only about 10% of the market, we had that special $8,000 subsidy for first-time buyers. That goes away in December. The thing is running on steroids. The car market, well, we ran down the inventories, but we did that with a subsidy equal to 20% of the value of a car.
All right. Hey, Peter, thanks for joining us. Peter Morici there from University of Maryland, coming to us from a Washington, D.C. bureau.